Good Monday morning to you. It is Monday and it is not looking so hot outside out there, especially for areas in the north central of the UP, Marquette and Alger counties. Still a mess out there with some lake effect snow as well as some strong gusty winds. We will have improvements coming. It's not going to last for too long, though, unfortunately. But we will have a break happening, and that's coming for the second half of the day. So I'm going to talk a little bit about your mud day when things kind of taper off. And we're going to go ahead and look ahead at tomorrow because we are in for an active week. Okay. It is a progressive pattern. We have something coming through every other day or thereabouts. Okay. And we don't have any real big warm ups. The only day that will be above normal will be Friday. That's when we'll flirt with upper 30s and a couple of 40-degree readings. That's the only warm day within the next 7 days. Otherwise, we're in for this typical cold pattern for this time of year. And, active with clipper systems coming through almost every other day or thereabouts. So this morning, we are still kind of starting off with that lake effect snow and some gusty winds. Here's a look at that. This is visibility right now. We're showing surface observations are indicating visibilities are about half of a mile within portions of Marquette County, potentially Alger County as well, especially along M28. I've had reports throughout the morning on and off of occasional whiteout conditions from abrupt blowing snow that's been limiting visibility rather quickly. So be mindful of that. Now, surface observations have shown that gusts are still kind of ranging around 25 to near 30 miles per hour along our shorelines. We are expecting wind gusts to decrease below 20 miles per hour later on today, but the morning hours still quite dicey out there. It's a snowy, windy, gusty view of US 41 right now. So we're still kind of dealing with that. Areas in the south, though, a whole lot better. Please be mindful of driving with caution here throughout the morning hours and even throughout the day. The snowbanks are getting larger out there. You might encounter some snow drifts, some very slick conditions as well. There's not been a whole lot of salt out there put out on roadways. It looks like it's just kind of clearing out the snow and throwing down some sand as much as possible. So be mindful to keep, a safe distance from other vehicles. Be mindful to not be speeding. These are the type of conditions that you can underestimate them and then it goes south really quickly, really fast. Okay. So advisories are still in effect until about 10 a.m. for Marquette and Alger counties. Marquette did get extended because of that wind. Here's the lake effect snow that we're seeing right now. We'll zoom into some areas. These are multiple bands of light to moderate lake effect snow, but that wind, though, is making it more problematic. There's a prominent band right here along M553 up through Sands to near the airport, up into Gwynn. That's one. Number two is between 94 and Scandia and US 41. Chocolate Township over into east of Harvey, over there going into M28. Also multiple bands here through Noda, Rock River, Chatham, 94 to 67, a little bit lighter there along Limestone. 94 generally looks to be multiple bands of the lake effect snow, but intensities look a little bit lighter as compared to M28 rather. Heavier intensity indicated east of Rock River right now. This is over in Autrain. Up through Christmas, some heavier snowfall there. Over into Munising, a little bit lighter on east up into west of Grand Marais, some lighter snow. Okay, so those are the multiple bands of lake effect snow ongoing right now. Again, worse conditions this morning, improving for the afternoon. Why? Well, because the winds will be weakening by that point in time. Here's a look at that hour by hour. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. And then you can see the afternoon less impactful. So we're excited for a little bit of a break from the active weather going into the second half of today. But the pattern is active, I mentioned. Our next system is right around the corner, and it's going to be coming in for tomorrow. And it brings in another round of widespread snowfall as well as some gusty winds. So we will have for sure travel impacts tomorrow as well. I know this is probably getting tiring. It's been difficult, keeping up with the snowfall over the past several days. It almost feels like, you clear everything out and then you go inside a couple hours later, it's all kind of undone, right? Because of more snowfall. And it's been like that basically all weekend long. But we'll catch a little bit of a breather here later on today. And then we're right back to it going into tomorrow. On the bright side, though, once all of this active pattern comes to an end, our snow lovers will be able to get outside and go and enjoy the fresh snowfall and have fun in it, right? So that's the bright side of it after it's all over and done with, right? Here's what you need to know about this next system. It's coming in tomorrow. It's not going to linger, but it is going to bring in a round of widespread snowfall, and it starts in the morning, right about mid-morning, we start to see more light snowfall initially, and then by the afternoon, it's heavy snowfall. We're also expecting not just widespread snowfall, but also gusty winds yet again to be combined with this system. So, poor visibility, sloppy road conditions, likely again with this system. Let's talk about the probability of snowfall accumulation. As far as about 6 inches, we're expecting a probability of anywhere between 10% to 70% probability of at least 6 inches of snowfall for the majority of the northern and eastern UP. Okay, so the highest snowfall, as we're kind of indicating here, can be noted or will be noted in the eastern half of the UP, with the lower snowfall amounts along the Wisconsin state line, especially down into Menominee County. The probability of around a foot of snowfall is expected in the eastern UP. That probability right now kind of sitting at around 5 to about 20% probability. Okay, so let's talk actual snowfall projections. Almost a widespread 4 to 6 inches of snowfall expected for that 24-hour time span tomorrow through Wednesday morning for most of the UP except towards the tip of Menominee County. The eastern UP at about a foot of snowfall because of lake enhanced snowfall that we will likely tap into off of Lake Michigan. The north central at around 7 inches to near a foot, and then near a foot over towards the Keweenaw. All right, so this does not include the lake effect snow that we will likely be getting behind the system for basically the second half of Wednesday. So this is just mainly that 24-hour time span from that main swath of snowfall that's coming through. And there's also the likelihood of lake enhanced snow. Every time we tap into lake enhanced snowfall or that kind of a setup, we usually end up with higher snowfall amounts. I'm going to walk you through it. Let me backtrack here just a second. All right, so here's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. The leading edge of this swath of snowfall will be trying to work into the western UP. So as it moves in, it's initially going to be light intensities. Here's mid-morning. That's spreading into the central UP at that point in time. By midday, it's almost basically widespread. Now, here's the situation. Between midday through mid-afternoon, intensities are going to ramp up. We're expecting heavy intensities around that time period, especially with the fact that those winds increase. We have a southerly flow ahead of the Clipper system, and gusts will range 30 to near 40 miles per hour. And so that prominent flow will cause lake-enhanced snowfall off of Lake Michigan or eastern and southern counties. So areas like Delta County, areas like Schoolcraft County, those locations. Schoolcraft County, Alger County, Luce County, those areas likely going to be tapping into lake enhanced snowfall tomorrow afternoon. So by early evening, we start to see some improvements in the western UP. Still going to be gusty, but we'll have improvements because this clears from west to east. So between 5 and 6 o'clock, snow clearing in the western and some of our central counties. 7:30, 8 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll start to notice that that swath will start to move out of the eastern UP. We'll still have the back end of it over in Chippewa and Mackinac counties. This is our in-house model, but a lot of models are kind of lining up with this situation and scenario happening. So then that's gone. That first round out of the area by tomorrow evening. However, lake enhanced or lake effect snow ramps up behind this thing, okay? So our wind direction changes. We end up with a northwest wind tomorrow night into Wednesday morning and some lake effect snow developing along those northwest wind belts for that time period. So here's a look at that. This is tomorrow night, 10 p.m. and we go into Wednesday morning and we still have that northwest component. Lake enhanced lake effect snowfall for the high elevations of Baraga, Western Market County, Michigamme Highland areas, the Huron Mountain locations, the Keweenaw, Northern Houghton, Keweenaw counties, those typical locations. So that's Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. And then it starts to let up a little bit where we will still have some lingering into Wednesday afternoon. However, if you're not in those areas, big improvements on Wednesday. So I'm talking about, Gogebic, Ontonagon, Iron, Delta, or rather Dickinson, Menominee counties, those areas. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot. Another day of some potentially dangerous conditions tomorrow. The National Weather Service Office will likely be issuing alerts again for this system going into tomorrow. But I think that they're kind of holding off until the afternoon and the ones that are currently in place right now for them to expire before they issue alerts for tomorrow's system. So that's probably why you haven't seen the alerts just yet come through. Let's talk about snowfall amounts, or rather where we're at with snowfall so far. I already talked to you about what's coming with snowfall amounts for tomorrow, and this is where we're at right now for our snow base. Remember, we lost about 1.5 feet of snowfall about 2 weeks ago with that warm spell that we had. Well, here's a look at where we're sitting at right now, or our current snow depth. Okay, a lot of the areas that are kind of shaded more in that very, very light pink, almost white color, those areas have a snow base of at least 48 inches, going to about 60 inches for our snow base. All of this basically came from last Friday all the way up until today. Areas in the southern UP, we have ranges of around 24 inches of snowfall in the interior west. Places like Gogebic, Ontonagon, northern Dickinson County. A snow base right now of around 1 foot to about 18 inches of snowfall along the Wisconsin state line in Dickinson and Menominee counties. So we've made up for that snow that we lost here a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to continue to add more snow. So yeah, let's talk about where we're at for snowfall so far for the season, because, when situations like this happen, of course, a lot of folks want to know where we're at so far for the season. I mean, we're almost halfway, if not thereabouts, through winter in the UP, but winter in the UP lasts through, well, sometimes the beginning of May. So definitely more winter to be had. But here is our snowfall so far for the season. And that means starting October 1st, 2025. So since basically last fall, all the way up into right now. I updated these numbers about half hour ago. So this is where we're sitting at right now for actual seasonal snowfall amounts. 139 inches of snowfall over in Ironwood. Their normal is 185 per season. So, I've been talking about it since the beginning of this winter season, how we were going to be in for a normal UP winter season. That's exactly what has been unfolding and is still shaping up to be. 277 inches over at Eagle River, 275 at Tamarack, 138 inches in Berglund. Their normal is 180 inches of snowfall. Herman at 252 inches of snowfall, above their normal of 207 inches. They have surpassed their annual seasonal snowfall normal. The National Weather Service office clocking in 200 inches of snowfall, exceeding their normal snowfall of 196 inches. So we're in for an above average season of snowfall in some areas. Big Bay's at 128, couple inches away. They'll break that, normal here in the next 24 hours to 36 hours. Their normal is 132. Marquette's at 96 inches of snowfall. We're going to break that one here this week easily. Arnold's at 61. Kingsford's at 27. They're still below their normal. So Kingsford has a normal for a seasonal snowfall of 61 inches, and Menominee is at 43 for their normal. They're at 30 right now. Escanaba's at 31. They're supposed to be at 46. Manasteek's at 56. Newberry's at 51. And Chatham is coming in at 138 so far for the season. So we're doing good for snowfall season this year for all of our snow lovers. And many areas will likely surpass the normal this year. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's the update on that. You might be curious about the rest of the week. Since I did go extensively into tomorrow and Wednesday, here's a quick brief look at the 7-day. We're still looking at lake effect snow to hang on through Wednesday. Right now, it looks like Thursdays are kind of quiet day. We'll hang on to some cloud cover. It'll be a typical seasonal day with 20s, but it doesn't look like a whole lot's happening on Thursday. So that's good. We'll be catching a break from that snowfall. Friday, some scattered snow showers, as well as on Saturday, a couple small disturbances kind of working through. Friday's that warm day this week, so, maybe we'll lose just a little bit of snow to kind of bring it down a little bit, but those snowbanks really, really high out there right now, so not looking so great. This weekend, still some chances for some snow showers on Saturday. This weekend, we're expecting it to be colder, kind of like what we're experiencing out there today with temperatures being below normal in the teens. That's what's shaping up for Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, that does it. That's the update. Hopefully you guys are taking it easy out there, being careful, being cautious, all of those things. Tomorrow, with it being a little bit more heavier snowfall, keep in mind heart attack snow, be careful when you're doing some shoveling out there. So yeah, I will have another update for you with another TV6 First Alert Weather Extra on Wednesday morning to get you going through the second half of this work week.